Okay, welcome back. Today we are going to be beating Mega Man 3 without dying once. A deathless Mega Man 3 run. And I am still in my mid-game crisis, doing games I would consider to be mid. Because I've played through all the top games, you know, I've played the Ninja Gaidens and the Castlevanias and the Mega Mans, and it occurred, you know, I started getting really into beating mid-games like Ghostbusters 2, Jackal, Karate Kid, and it occurred to me, can any Mega Man game truly be considered mid? You know, the Mega Man games are obviously all top tier, really fun, but if I had to pick a game that from the Mega Man series that was quote-unquote mid, it would be Mega Man 3, and that's solely because this is the price range. Mega Man 3 can be had here in the year 2024. If you shop around, you can still find a copy for under $20, you know, maybe 17, 18 bucks, making it the budget gamer's Mega Man, and it's a really good one. You know, for $17, $18, this is a lot of bang for your buck. And I do have plans to do a lot more mid-level games. We're going to be doing Kung Fu, we're going to be doing Guerrilla War, we're going to be doing POW, we're going to be doing Codename Viper. I mean, stay tuned. We got a lot more of these really fun mid-level games coming up. I'm even going to try to do Urban Champion, if you can believe that. But for now, Mega Man 3. We're going to try and... We're starting off with Needleman because I want the RushJet as soon as possible. And it is my hope that we can beat Needleman without having to burn through an E-tank. But if we have to, so be it. This is, you know, it's worth it to be able to have the, Oops. Yeah, let's go ahead and use it now. Yeah, it's worth it to be able to have the RushJet right at the start of the game. Alright, so we had to burn through the E-tank. That's okay. There's plenty more later, so I don't feel too badly about it. Now, Mega Man 3, this one is regarded as the hardest of the Mega Man games. And that I can definitely see. But... oh, there we go, RushJet. And I probably made this point in my Mega Man 2 video, and probably in my Mega Man 3 video as well. The other one I did years ago. Only died a couple times on that run, but this is going to be our nice, clean, no-death run. And my opinion has not changed. Mega Man 2 is, you know, widely regarded as being the best. I disagree. You know, one of the things, when you're a retro gamer, one thing you invariably do, it's like a retro gamer rite of passage, is you do play the Mega Man games from the NES. And you know, you notice all the little differences from game to game, but you also, like, kind of come up with your own, like, superlatives of the game based on your opinion. You know, it's kind of how you remember them. Like, for example, most retro gamers come to the conclusion that, you know, Mega Man 1 is the most flawed. It's, you know, the control isn't perfect. The control is a little, stiff, and, yeah, there's a few things about the game that are just kind of wonky, like the enemies inside the Robot Master gates. know, the weapons weren't all that fun to use. Mega Man 1 largely gets a pass, though, because it is the first. Had there been no sequels, it would still be regarded as a really good NES game. And here's a neat trick we can do now that we have the RushJet. Mega Man 2, most retro gamers give that the superlative of being the best. I tend to think it is the easiest, and probably the one that, if you're a noob to the series, that's the one you want to pick up and play. Maybe the most accessible, I think, is the best way to describe it. Mega Man 3, most difficult. I'd agree with that, because this is the game I owned, you know, and even though I loved it as a kid, I was never able to beat it. I was never even able to get to Wily's Castle. I would always get stuck on the second Needleman stage. Mega Man 4, that one I would say is the most balanced. The charged Mega Buster is definitely OP. You can go after the Robot Masters in any order you wish, because the charged Mega Buster makes it so that you really don't need the weapon that they're weak against. And that's part of the fun, is the replay value of knowing you can go through. Like when I play Mega Man 4, I go after Brightman first, because his weapon, I mean, it makes it so easy. You just spam that through any stage, and it makes it a breeze. So I would call that one the most balanced. And for a long time, I used to call it my favorite, but my opinion on that has changed. Mega Man 5, that one I would call the most expensive. I can't come up with a better superlative for that one. The biggest disappointment is that they made Dr. Wily the villain instead of keeping it as Proto Man. Had they left Proto Man as the villain in Mega Man 5, it would be the most unique and maybe the best of the series. Because Proto Man is like a frenemy. He's mysterious. You don't really understand whether he's your friend or your enemy. But they chickened out and they made it Dr. Wily. So that was a terribly wasted opportunity. And Mega Man 6, I call my favorite. When I play it, I go after Plant Man first, so I can have the RushJet adapter. And it makes the whole game just so fun, zipping all over the map with the Rush Jetpack. By the way, if you hear my D-pad creaking, I was watching one of my, I think it was my Ghostbusters 2 video the other day. I was rewatching it, you know, to check for any kind of mistakes or whatever with the audio. And I noticed that I could hear the D-pad creaking pretty loudly while I was playing. I just wanted to clarify that. So when I play games on the NES Mini, which is it's HDMI, it uses the rectangular controller. But when I play games on my my NES Kevtris, which is also HDMI, I'm using a dog bone controller instead of that standard NES controller. You know, years ago, when I first started collecting retro games back in the late 90s, I bought a top loader as an investment, you know, because I heard they were more reliable for playing old NES games. And of course, I got the Dogbone controller with it, and you know, I'm switching off, you know, my HDMI captures as a front loader. I still use the Dogbone controller though. But when I play using, you know, my capturist, I'm using the Dogbone, I still can't tell whether or not I like the Dogbone controller better or the standard NES rectangle. All I know is that they're both light, they're both comfortable, they're both totally fine and familiar feeling. Maybe the Dogbone's a little bit more comfortable, but it does have a creaky D-pad. Okay, so now we have the ShadowBlade and the RushJet. Now we're ready to play Mega Man 3 for real. And one of the things that makes Mega Man 2 so easy is the overpowered MetalBlade. In fact, whenever I play it, I always coyly nickname the game, you know, MetalBlade Man. Because once, you know, you take out Metal Man first, and then you just spam using the metal. You can see it in my own deathless run on Mega Man 2. I spammed the MetalBlade virtually the entire game. But the ShadowBlade, just as useful, not as potent. But, you know, just the fact that you have a weapon that can attack in 8 different directions, it's almost like, you know, Super Castlevania 4. It makes it so simple. Now, one of the things that's always bothered me, and I've mentioned this in my Mega Man 2 video, is that Mega Man 2 always being regarded as the best. I was 7 or 8 years old in 1991 when this game came out, and I had it and I loved it. But everyone, you know, gamers back in the day, I recall, widely considered Mega Man 3 to be the best. Everyone loved the RushJet and the Slide. Those two additions right there made Mega Man 3 hands down better than Mega Man 2. Plus, you do have, you know, a bit of a nerfed MetalBlade to boot, so, you know, many of us felt that it improved upon Mega Man 2, which was already a stellar game. But somehow in the, like, look how useful RushJet is. You can't do this in Mega Man 2. Just somewhere down the line, and it's funny because I also remember in the late 90s when I started, you know, retro game collecting, I remember that, you know, this is before Google, you know, you'd use Mozilla Firefox or Yahoo as like a browser or a search engine, and you would, if you looked up Mega Man, and this is well before the avalanche of garbage clickbait websites like Den of Geek, Ain't It Cool, Kotaku, you know, whatever. I remember there was World of Nintendo, which was a very nice forum, but there was also a ton, or not a ton, but there was also a bunch of like small websites, small fan sites run by, you know, fans hosted by like GeoCities or AngelFire, and you would go to them and they'd be all about like the Mega Man games on the NES, and they would have like a user poll, what do you consider to be the best Mega Man game, and 3 always ranked higher than 2. You know, I always remember everyone for the longest time thinking 3 was better than 2. It's just shocking to me that somewhere down the line that changed. It is just an opinion. If you like Mega Man 2 the best, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The bottom line is they're all good games. You know, I don't mean to be like a snob about it. All I mean to say is that how I remember it is that Mega Man 3 was always regarded as better than Mega Man 2. Like I said, there's all kinds of fun tricks you can do with the RushJet once you have it. Alright, so one thing I wanted to talk a little bit about, well, I guess one point I will make, regarding Mega Man 1, I haven't talked much about it. I own all 6 of the Mega Mans. Have not yet done Mega Man 1 on the Kevtris. I will do it at some point. I'm kind of dragging my feet on it. I don't want to do it until I can put together at least a decent run. Maybe not a deathless run, but at least a decent one where I can beat it. I've never actually beaten Mega Man 1. I don't play it very often, but I will get to that point eventually. And Mega Man 1, you know, we forgive it for all its faults because it's the original, but there's something about it that I really like that it disappoints me so much that, you know, we talk about all the small differences between the Mega Man games. Mega Man 1 is the only one that has a scoreboard. You know, I talked about this with my pal Rockin' Cat Reviews, and it does kind of bug me that they didn't keep the scoreboard in any of the other Mega Man games. So, it is a purely philosophical thing, but, you know, when I was a kid, you know, games like, you know, Super Mario Brothers 3, Mega Man 1, you know, kind of always mystified me that they even had a scoreboard, because what was the point? With some games, like, you know, the Contra games or Castlevania, you get extra lives when you hit certain point thresholds. That was not true in Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario Brothers 3 or Mega Man 1. You know, points didn't really have a purpose. So when, you know, Mega Man 2, you know, there's no scoreboard, it didn't really bother me. You know, we all didn't really think much of it. That, you know, none of the other Mega Man games had a scoreboard, and it never didn't seem like a big deal. But now that I'm older, yeah, I mean, like, the scoreboard was seen as like, oh, that's for games like old games like Ms. Pac-Man and Donkey Kong and Galaga, games where the whole point is to have a high score, you know, to get better. When you're playing a game of Super Mario Brothers 3, what do you care what your score is? You don't. It's not a measure of success. The measure of success is beating the game. So, but now that I'm older, you know, I do wish Mega Man had kept the score through the rest of the 6 games. I would love to see what my score is right now, but they took it out. And the reason why I would like to see it is because, you know, you play games like Mega Man 3 many times over the years, and even though originally the idea was just, you know, the score's irrelevant because all that matters is finishing the game, beating it. But once you are good enough to beat it, you want, you know, and you do want to keep playing it because it is fun. You do want to, like, know what your score is. You do want to have that measure, that numerical measure of success to see, you know, did I have a more dominant game when I beat it this time as opposed to last time? So yeah, it does bum me out that there's no scoreboard. And look how fun the ShadowBlade is to use. This is every bit as fun as using the MetalBlade in Mega Man 2. And let's hope for some luck. Maybe we'll get an E-Tank here. It's very rare. Nope, and nope. Okay, so with all that out of the way, I thought it might be kind of fun to talk about arcade cabinets. So, my situation in life is changing. We are in talks about getting a larger house. And, you know, I've always wanted an arcade cabinet. And thank you to the arcade 1-ups, I can get one, and it won't be too costly, and, you know, you can get the one you want. I don't know, so I'm not going to keep you in suspense. I'll talk more about arcade cabinets in this vid, but I just wanted to make it clear that I have it narrowed down to 2. I am strongly considering getting either the arcade 1-up that is a combination cabinet of Ms. Pac-Man and Galaga, or I'm getting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet. One of those two. The Ms. Pac-Man Galaga, because it would be so fun to just, you know, score chase. And Ninja Turtles because, to me, that is one of the greatest arcade cabinets ever made. So there's a channel called, I've been inspired, it's by, it's Daryl Sung 06. And he is a Mortal Kombat master. He is great at Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. He's also really good, I think, at Killer Instinct. And I think also on the Street Fighter 2 cabinet. And on his channel, he does have the cabinets, the arcade one-ups, not the authentics. And he does like a arcade live stream where he plays the Mortal Kombat games. You know, he has the camera set up over his shoulder, so it's like an authentic arcade experience. And the great thing about those arcade one-ups is, you know, he's live streaming himself playing the games, and he gets a fair amount of viewers, but he's attracted the attention of other really good Mortal Kombat players, and I guess you can set it up so that you can play other players around the world. So, I mean, it's not uncommon to one of his streams, he gets challenged by, you know, someone, and these are like Mortal Kombat gods, and as great as Daryl is, I mean, he'll get clobbered by some of these top-tier players, and, you know, it's like a blast from the past. It totally reminds me of, you know, being at the arcade on like a Friday night and watching a couple of Mortal Kombat pros really go at it. Should we check that, whoops. Yeah, we'll take a second to check it. Ugh. The worst one. But anyway, it reminds me of, like, you know, being at the arcade on a Friday night, and, you know, does anyone remember, like, you know, when Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3 were brand new, you'd go, if you were at an arcade and, yeah, there were competitive players there, you might see, yeah, there would be a crowd gathered, and you might see, like, they would, to indicate who had the next match, you know, who got to challenge the winner, they'd put their quarter on the cabinet, like right at the bottom of the monitor. I only ever saw that, you know, when competitive players were doing Mortal Kombat. Also, I can recall, well, I'll talk about it in a second. I want to show off something first. For years, the picture of Frog Mario from the instruction manual of Super Mario Bros. 3 was my avatar for the channel. Now I use Rush Marine. This is the picture. Too bad Rush Marine not as good as RushJet in this game. But anyway, getting back to Mortal Kombat 2, does anyone also remember every now and then, if you were an arcade, I think, that hosted tournaments or competitions, they would put an extra monitor on top of the cabinet so that, you know, people could watch, because it would, you know, a competitive match might, or a really good player might draw a crowd, and people would want to watch them play, and, you know, you don't want a crowd of people breathing down your neck, so putting the monitor on top allows, like, a crowd to gather and watch without both players having strangers breathing all over them. But yeah, the only ever times I saw people putting quarters on the cabinet or putting an extra monitor on top of the marquee was for like Mortal Kombat 2 and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Okay, this is the hard part of the game. It's going to be the tough part to do without dying. We'll start with ShadowMan. As a kid, I was never able to beat Needleman's second stage. Now, I don't know why. Every now and then, I'll read that there's criticism about this part of the game. I don't get it. This part of the game is really fun. It's challenging. It's, you know, you have all your weapons at your disposal. So it's a chance for you to show off how much skill you've acquired. My only concern is that if I do get one of those two cabinets, that, you know, it might be fun to stream, but I feel like you all would get pretty bored, because with Ninja Turtles, once you've seen someone play through it, you know, that's kind of it. You've seen it once, you've seen it a million times. Alright, we need to beat, I think it's Heatman, we need to beat him without using another E-Tank since we burned one on Woodman. There's a long as you get this guy in a good rhythm, it's manageable. So one reason why I would want to get the Ninja Turtles cabinet, it has absolutely always been a favorite of mine ever since I was a kid. Anyone who, was a kid when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were popular remembers that that arcade cabinet came out at the absolute peak of Ninja Turtles fever. I mean, the lunchbox, every kid had wanted the lunchbox. The action figures were flying off the shelf. The cartoon was a hit. And when the arcade cabinet came out, it was the closest thing you could get to being a Ninja Turtle, to being your hero. The graphics, I mean, it looked and sounded just like the cartoon. The graphics were fantastic. Sound was good. Music was good. I mean, Konami just did a phenomenal job with it. And think about what beat-em-ups were out at the same time Ninja Turtles came out. There was Bad Dudes versus the Dragon Ninja, there was, or Shadow Warrior, I can't remember. There was, obviously Double Dragon, there was Final Fight, and all those were really good beat-em-ups for their time, but nothing came close to the Ninja Turtles arcade cabinet. It was just tops. So I would want, if I want to get a score chaser, I'm going for the Ms. Pac-Man Galaga. If I want a beat-em-up, I'm going for Ninja Turtles. Okay, we're gonna need a steak for Quick Man. Really wish we didn't have to use the D-Tank, but whatever, we'll get more. Now, some other arcade cabinets that I was considering, and I hope you don't mind me waxing on about arcade cabinets. Of course, I'm talking about the one-ups, not authentic cabinets. Authentic cabinets, too expensive, the monitor burns, the boards break. You know, they're very difficult to maintain and fix. You know, I'll start with ones that they never made that I would have liked to have had. One is the one that I was holding out for years, and I've just kind of given up because it seems obvious at this juncture that, you know, they're just not going to do it. You know, I've waited too long. But WrestleFest, WWF WrestleFest, and WWF Superstars. I'd always kind of hoped that they would do like a combination cabinet. You know, both of those were by Technos. But at this point, it's just obvious that they're not going to do it. The license is too difficult. I mean, WWF has been gone for years. It's been WWE for years, but nevertheless, they're still not going to do it. Try and get some RushJet back. I don't think we need it for the remainder of this level. But we will take that anyway. Yep, still no E-Tank. Alright, this one is tough. Flashman, because we're going to use the Gemini laser, and if you miss, you have to wait for it to finish rebounding all over the screen. Yeah, not at all happy with how that worked out. Because now we're out of E-Tanks. Yeah, they also didn't do arcade one-ups for Knights of the Round or King of Dragons or Sunset Riders. You know, those... That's fine. Those ones I'm not really interested in getting, although they are interesting games. Yeah, they're just fun on Super Nintendo. Same with Turtles in Time. They did do an arcade one-up for it, but the Super Nintendo version is so good that, you know, I'm not interested. Now, a couple they didn't do that I would have been interested in. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs and Alien vs. Predator. I think those came a little too late. and thus are considered not popular enough to do. And it's a shame, because those are fantastic. Or Super Ninja Baseball Batman. Yeah, it would have been awesome to have those as a arcade one-up. Just trying to brief top off our health here, since we're all out of E-tanks. Alright, I guess that's good enough. And a couple, of course, that I did consider were The Simpsons and X-Men. I still have them downloaded on my Xbox 360 hard drive. What can you say about those? Konami also did such a great job with those, considering they had very little to work with. You know, The Simpsons, only a few episodes, and Konami had to make a whole beat-em-up stylized after that game. They did a really good job. It's a very memorable experience. Some still consider it to be the only good Simpsons video game. You know, levels like Dreamland and Krusty Land still, you know, very creative and interesting. And even though we don't need that extra life, what the hey, we're gonna take it anyway. That E-tank, though, we definitely need, and we will definitely take. Because if you die, and this is the whole reason why I wasn't able to beat this game as a kid, you know, after we beat this boss, Airman, oof. I hope we don't have to use our E-tank on him. Let's see if we use Spark Shot on him. Alright, very good. Alright, so we're just gonna farm a little bit of health for a minute. Worthless one-up. One-ups have no value because we are going for a no-death run. And in classic NES fashion, once the game kind of catches on to what you're trying to do, they stop rewarding you. Don't even need to be completely refilled, just mostly, like 2/3 life ought to do it. Another extra life, which I don't need. One question I've always had about the Simpsons and X-Men arcades is that... Oh, they stopped spawning? There we go. Like, this, X-Men in particular, because it was based off of that pilot, Bride of the X-Men, which was not picked up. But it featured characters that were not in that one singular pilot. There was, Wendigo and Nimrod. Interestingly, Toad was not in the arcade. He would have made for a really fun, you know, mid-game, you know, mini-boss or whatever. There we go, finally. Okay, now we can move on. Alright, and by the way, as a kid, this was the part that drove me to the brink. You know, I was never able to beat it because if you die here, these power-ups are gone, you know, if you take them. So, I mean, if you die, you know, fighting the boss of this level, you're in a really rough spot. You basically have to take a game over. Yeah, I always wondered, did, because it had, you know, the Alligator Men in X-Men also, because it featured enemies not in the cartoon, did they have, like, access to, you know, the development team at Konami? I wondered if they had access to, like, concept art, you know, for future episodes that didn't get picked up. I don't know. Maybe someone knows. Okay, so that's the hardest part of the game. Now we can just... The rest of the game, not difficult at all. It is kind of interesting that Mega Man 3 is structured that way, that, you know, the Robot Master is fairly easy, and then the middle part of the game, those 4 extra levels very hard, and then the Wily's Castle fairly mild. And we did get to stash away an extra E-Tank, which is good because we're going to need a couple for Yellow Devil and then maybe one more for the end boss. And even though we don't need this extra life, we're going to take it anyway. What are we up to? 13. Lucky 13 extra lives. We are not going to take the risk, because if you fall here, you do not get to come back up the ladder and try again. And this is the only area where we're actually going to use Rush Marine, so here we go, underwater levels. And this is fun. It makes me wish that, if you... there was another segment like that, but if you remember, like Mega Man 5 has that section with the, where you're on the jet ski in Wave Man's level. I always kind of wish there was a little more of something like that. I don't think we're going to need too much hard knuckle, but whatever. How many E-Tanks? We got 3. I think we pick up a couple more in the next section, in the next stage. I don't even know what takes these guys out. But we'll use ShadowBlade. I'm sure there's a stronger weapon to use against these guys. Yeah, right, game. Like we're gonna do this fair. And I don't think we're going to need Rush Marine again, but whatever, we'll fill it. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, that was foolish. Oh well. And this is great. We are in power-up heaven. Need any ShadowBlade while we're down here? No? We could go ahead and top off RushJet. I believe this is the Yellow Devil, so this is maybe the toughest boss in the game. We're gonna go ahead and burn an E-Tank right now. We got 5 of them. I think we're in good shape. But that first part where he first appears is tough because you can't see him breaking apart. Being able to see him breaking apart from the other side of the screen is quite the advantage. We're gonna have to use another E-Tank. That was my fault. If I hadn't missed that last shot. Still got 3 E-Tanks, so I think we're in good shape. Well, I didn't mean to do it, but we did accidentally glitch it out. Okay, hopefully we get either another E-Tank. Ah, look at that. Alright. I feel like we're in good shape for the rest of the run. Is this one the MegaMan clones? I can't remember what the MegaMan clone is weak to. Looks like ShadowBlade. And like a cheapskate, he keeps spawning on top, having an unlucky run. Alright, is this the robot? Yep, this is the classic Robot Master Gauntlet. We'll start with the bottom ones. Top Man. So this time we're actually going to use Hard Knuckle on him, which is the weapon he's weak to. Alright, last one. Needleman. We're gonna use Gemini Laser on him, even though it's kind of a pain in the butt to hit him. Ooh, I should have refilled Top Spin. Top Spin's what we need for the final boss. Not quite done yet. I think as long as I have Top Spin, I'm good, right? But basically, as you can see, I've dominated this game with ShadowBlade. Yep, there we go. We just beat MegaMan 3. No deaths. The mid of the MegaMan. It's also mid because it's smack dab in the middle of the series, but mostly because of the price range and that it's regarded as the most challenging. So there you have it. A deathless run of the most mid MegaMan game. We did the most mid Castlevania game, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Got the best ending. Now we're finally done with MegaMan 3. The ending for Mega Man 2 is the most memorable. It's the one most people have actually seen. But I quite like the ending for Mega Man 3. That it gives you... It kind of does feel like the end of the trilogy, because you see all the, the robots from Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. You didn't get to fight the ones in 1, from one, which would have been a very nice touch. So I guess that's why, you know, growing up, we didn't even, you know, Mega Man 4, 5, and 6 came out when Genesis and Super Nintendo were taking off, so a lot of us missed 4, 5, and 6, didn't even know they existed until, you know, it was too late. For the longest time, you know, it felt like Mega Man was just a trilogy. And then, it's only when, you know, the late 90s when I got into retro game collecting. Oh no, there actually are 6 of them. You know, I think I did rent 4 once as a kid, so I did know about 4. I didn't know about 5 and 6, though. My only regret is that I have no score to report. There's no scoreboard. I don't know that I'll be doing a deathless run of 4, 5, and 6. I did 2 and 3 because, you know, I love these games. I don't know, maybe I will do a deathless run of 6. That might be kind of fun. It is my favorite. Alright, and that's it. So, our, list of games we've beaten that are kind of mid-tier games continues to grow. And this was a really fun one to do. So stick around. I've got a lot more mid-games coming soon, so stay tuned.